fall colors are starting to get beautiful up here. Look at that. Beautiful. Alrighty. This is like a super sharp turn. I have an equipment trailer I'm bringing today. So we were at the truck camp earlier this year, when we were here, we seasoned the wood stove in it because it was starting to rust. Now we're bringing a couple of trailers out. I'm making a couple trips, so I'm gonna leave again today. I had to get another trailer. I wanna build a proper roof on that thing with a steep A-frame. That's the game plan anyways. Hopefully I can build it right. Look at that. Can you see that on the camera? No, it's overexposing. How do I fix that? Got a beautiful full moon starting to come out. Gotta be careful on this road. It's very steep. I got a heavy trailer right now. Coming back with the second trailer. Kind of see the moon. It's overexposing though. We're struggling up this hill. Can't wait to get some sleep. I'm so tired after all this driving today. Good morning, everyone. All right, got some sleep last night. I slept in the truck. I didn't want to go in this and deal with it that late at night. I was already exhausted. Probably sleep in here some point this week. I'm gonna be here the next 5 days at the truck camp, fixing it. So I brought a couple trailers out here of mine with some equipment. So right there, I have all these clamps. I keep a tarp over the back door of it to make it a little cooler. I just remove that. I'm not going to remove any of the trees. I like the cover growing around it. I'm going to have pressure treated wood on the outsides of it. So I brought like 80 pieces of lumber to start with. I'll go probably have to buy more. So here's my plan. The roof on it now, everyone thought was gonna blow off. It's just held with cinder blocks, no screws. It worked perfect for waterproofing. Although in the winter, the weight of snow was applying it to just the center beam the way I did it. That was my mistake. We're gonna take all that roofing off, throw all the cinder blocks down. I wanna build an A-frame on it where I could even maybe use it as a loft if I do a good enough job. Now, I've never built really much with wood and stuff, so this is gonna be a learning experience for me. So basically my plan is every 16 inches on center, on the bottom it's gonna have a 2x4 going across it. The end cap of it is gonna be a pressure treated 2x6 where water could get there from the dripping edge. Then going up, I was gonna do the A-frame with 2x3 to store it and have any. That'll also be 2x4 studs, which are very light. They're not pressure treated. Do 6 inches on center the whole way. We'll have a couple little cross pieces way up at the peak where you won't bump your head on it. So if I do a good job, I'm gonna go buy windows for the ends of it. Just cheap storm windows. Doesn't need to really be much because this is a non-insulated truck. I don't ever plan on insulating it. That wood stove bakes it that time of year. And if you're sleeping in here in the summer or at night, it don't matter. Nice and cool. So I'm not going to cut any of the trees. I like the overgrowth, although I'm going to make a tunnel here going to the door. These are sharp pricker bushes. I got to trim that with some trimmers I brought. I also brought my lawnmower. I want to trim a little bit around here so I can set up a ladder. I hope I brought enough tools. I brought circular saw. I brought chargers for my battery operated impact driver, because this whole thing's going to be done with screws, not nails. Now, how am I gonna get power for all that stuff? This is how, everyone. I bought this gigantic former military generator trailer, and it was really cheap on Craigslist. It has 3,000 hours on it. Hasn't had an oil change, the guy says, in 100 hours. We're going to use it on this job site this week. Then when I bring this thing back to my house, because we don't need this gigantic thing. I'm just using it here to run power tools. I'm kind of testing it out because I've never actually started it myself. I just watched that guy start it. Then when I get it back to my house, I plan on keeping it on the trailer. I'm going to work on it. I want to stain this. It looks pressure treated, but I don't want it to rot. And we're going to do an oil change on it. I'm going to change out the filter on the engine oil, both fuel filters. The air filter, I'm going to replace it all. The guy gave me this thing in case I want to attach it to my house, a 100 amp plug. There is the male end of it. This is the female end, can run it into the house. The guy gave me this giant transfer switch. He's a former military electrician. He had all kinds of cool stuff he gave me if I want to hook it up to my house. So this thing here, he said he purchased it when he got out of the service in 2004 for $14,000 is what the military charged him, and he sold it to me for $3,000 with the trailer. He had wired all this stuff on it to run cool stuff. It's got a whole bunch of 20 amp plugs. It has a 30 amp plug up top, and it has that 100 amp plug. This little enclosure here is a bit rotten. I'm going to fix that when I get it to my house. This can even wait until spring. Whenever I get the time, I'm going to unbolt this, and I might even replace the enclosure with corrugated sheet metal like the roof over there on the truck. Maybe. So inside here, the guy even gave me chargers for its battery. In here, it's got the breaker. This is for the big 100 amp one. You don't want that on. You could hurt yourself if you touch the end of that cord with that on the way it is. Here's all the breakers. Here's the 30 amp breaker. Super duper cool. This is still kind of watertight. It's just rotting on the outside. Should be replaced. So military generators, military trucks, the guy taught me, use 24 volt batteries. So here's two batteries that are 12 volts. You wire them together in a series, which converts it to a 24 volt battery when they're wired up like that with that little jumper right there. Batteries go in here, and this thing starts right up. It has, it looks like an 8-gallon tank. He told me that this thing is made to be able to run an entire military shift. He said this thing runs at about, he said it uses about 8 gallons of fuel over 12 hours, which is not that bad. Has half a tank in it. He was using heating oil. I'm not going to use it. I'm going to get red diesel. And yes, there is a difference. Heating oil has a lot of sulfur, and red diesel is refined more. There is a big difference, yes. And see right here? The paint's kind of cracking. That thing's super thick. That's not going to rust through anytime soon, but I will maybe touch that up in the spring with some green paint. These right here are the exhaust pipes. He put these on here because he said bees always like to make nests in there. He gave me a whole bunch more wire because he didn't know how far my breaker box was if I want to hook it up to my house. And this thing has a 2-inch ball. This thing is super heavy duty. The guy actually built this trailer from scratch. Look how thick the metal is on this trailer. Super heavy duty. The trailer itself is 3,000 pounds. Look at this. It's got these old tires. I'm gonna replace these on the way back to my house. I just brought it here for the time being. Had the police come out, look at it, because it's homemade. It doesn't have a VIN number. They gave me a VIN sticker I'll stick on it, and the plate once I'm ready to transport it back to my house. On the way back to my house, we're gonna swing by Town Fair Tire. No dry rot really there. There are a little bit in some spots, but I'd feel much better if it had new tires. I didn't want to take this on the highway. I brought it here, the back roads. I love the look of these old rims. That's so cool. I forget what you call those exactly. This thing will start this thing up in the morning to run all my power tools. That's going to be awesome. I love this thing. I can't wait to bring it home and tinker with it, do maintenance on it, oil change. Look at these. This guy said bees are obsessed with this thing. There's always hornets' nests. He said, be very careful when you open all these things up. How did he open this? He said, be very careful when you open this stuff up because there's always bees inside it. He said, rodents like building nests. I don't know what it is. A lot of bees, insects, spiders, they're attracted to fuel for some reason. I don't know what it is. I've experienced that. A lot of people have experienced that. This thing's a lot quieter than I thought. It's actually very quiet for its size. Although it says all over it you need hearing protection. In pretty good shape. This thing is a 1993, and the guy said it spent its entire life outdoors. All right, everyone, I'm gonna start mowing again, and leave in the comments what you think I should do with this thing. Should I make it stationary? Should I like build a little shed around it? I know this thing's been outside its whole life, but I kind of wanna like make some kind of at least plywood cover to keep it dry over the winter time. Especially since this thing will sit the majority of the time not being used. And this thing here, the guy told me, is for a 55-gallon drum. It can take more fuel from it. So it has 2 different fuel pumps. I have to figure out how to transfer it. This is coming from the tank, but you could put a hose on this, go into another fuel tank somewhere else. 55-gallon drum, big heating oil tank. Then you wouldn't have to keep coming out to refill it. And the cool thing about this generator is these ones last tens of thousands of hours, unlike gasoline ones, which typically only last a couple thousand hours before they break down. Diesel engines can run a very long time. This is a continuous use generator. It could run non-stop for a off-grid camp. Perfect for me if I ever wanted to actually leave this thing somewhere or for a massive power outage. I also was thinking about maybe just keeping the flatbed trailer. It's super nice. Maybe putting this thing on the ground next to my house if we were to actually hook it up. That'd be cool. Could hook it up to my fuel oil tank. But like I said, fuel oil is not the same thing, but my diesel furnace could run on just diesel instead of fuel oil. Next time I'd have fuel delivered, I could just get red diesel and this thing would do fine as a backup. And I also talked about in a vlog video when I was buying this thing, you can put new technology on these old machines. You could make this thing a standby generator if you wanted to. They got the technology that would turn this thing starter. It would have an indicating switch. It would know if it actually started. It would know how long to run the starter. They got all that technology. I don't know how to do that stuff. I'd have to hire someone to do that. I don't know that type of things. All right, if I step up on here, I can show you guys everything it's got. Here's the instrument panel. See, it's got almost 3,000 hours on it. I'll show you all this stuff when we start it up in the morning. These are little lights in case you're running it at night. And it's got, what do you call it? Glow tubes, which is for very cold weather. Thing's really cool. And the guy told me if I make it permanent, make sure I ground this. He said even when you're running it, I should use a lightning bolt or a ground rod, just in case there's stray voltage. You don't want to get zapped on the generator. Here's the main breaker on it, and I'm still exploring everything on this thing, actually. I would love if anyone could tell me more information on it. I know the guy told me military parts are almost impossible to get, so that's why he switched it to regular automotive stuff. He said the filter on here I should be able to pick up at Napa Auto Parts. That's pretty common. And everything should work. It's got the whole diagram of it. Wiring diagrams, schematics. It even has a little mast like a house. This thing's going to be a fun toy just to tinker with. And then I got another trailer right next to me. I don't want to walk back to the truck, but this is full of my tools and all the lumber is what I brought in this trailer. That's why I had to make 2 trips. Now I got to finish mowing the lawn. I mowed this 2 days ago when I was here dropping off the first one. Now I got to come over here and I want to mow a little bit closer. I got to do some trimming. All right. That'll just get stomped into the ground over the next couple days. Made a little spot for a ladder to get up there, but I like the tree cover around here. The blackberries are so sharp, I had to cut that. The raspberries aren't really sharp at all. Forgot it's locked. I'll go get my keys in the truck. I mowed the whole area, this whole end of the driveway, so the truck's down a little bit. It's okay though, I'll go get it. Thankfully, it looks like there's no dead mice, so it shouldn't reek when I open it. Those are mothballs. That keeps away the majority of the mice. And something else I might do this week, because I'm going to have to go to the store again and get more supplies, but I'm going to build as much of the roof I can today as possible. I might rip this piece of sheet metal off the front and replace it with clear corrugatedness. If I do that, I'll have a big window right there. How awesome would that be? Out into the woods, trim a little bit, because there's a big dense area with nothing growing. Have a good line of sight if we get that windshield opened up. That would be nice. I'm a little bit of a junk collector, yeah. I saved those pieces of wood thinking I could use them for something. They'll probably end up getting burned with this in the winter. See, I keep a lot of random junk I should probably throw out. We'll do a nice camp in this in the winter once we do some much needed improvements this week. I even got this ladder here on Craigslist. You can find almost anything secondhand on Craigslist. Really cheap because people are trying to get rid of stuff fast. So this did really well actually, this roof, despite all the complaints in the comments. See, it's got a slight pitch, but in the middle of it, there's a beam that made it so it was no longer evenly distributed with snow. We're gonna reuse this roofing on one side of the A-frame, and we'll have to buy twice as much for the other side. And pressure treated wood on the edges because I want the tree cover staying close. I like that. And everyone said that that chimney was too high for proper ventilation. Well, now that we're raising the roof up, it'll be perfect. What do you think I can use all these cinder blocks for? We won't need them now. Maybe as a little walking path coming in. I also want to cut a hole with a ladder coming up into like a loft if I do a good job. Well, my trailer can only fit 8-foot lumber. I wanted a main carrying beam in the middle because I'm not doing trusses, I'm doing an A-frame. I bought 3 pieces of good, whatever you call the beam at the top, and we're just gonna join them together with couplings. That's fine. We only need to do that for that one piece really. Everything else is pretty even. We're gonna do an equilateral triangle, so we don't really have to cut anything. We just have to angle it. I brought a Miller saw. And since we'll be using loud power tools, I'll have ear protection, especially with the generator running the majority of the day. That'll be a good test for the generator before I bring it back to my house and service it next week. It sure is hot. I chose the wrong week for this. 80-something degrees every day this week. Next week, every day is in the 60s. So next week, we'll go out and do other stuff, I guess. But now it's time to throw all that stuff off the roof. You heard that big noise? I'll show you what that was later. All right, everyone. When I originally put that roof on, I bought too many cinder blocks. We can extend this out further. Look at the cool pattern the corrugated roofing left. Is that from the galvanization or is that from the minerals in the concrete? Kind of cool. This is a little wiggly, but this will settle over a course of like a year. Thankfully no mice. I gotta get this out of here and let it vent out for a little bit. The smell of mothballs is give you a headache. So inside everything checks out, everything looks good. That's what the loud noise was if you heard it. These pillars with that 2x4 were holding up the roof in case of snow. Me walking around, got those things loose. They're jacks. I can use them somewhere else. I'm very lucky. I am so lucky that these jacks, look at that, it's still not stable. I'm so lucky that these metal jacks didn't break these mirrors. All these mirrors came with the truck. It is hot in here. Maybe with an upstairs it won't get so horribly hot in here anymore. Alright, we don't got any sleeping bear under here, do we? Nope. Coast is clear. Alright, it might be smart of me to tie this ladder off so it can't slide. So the lumber I can simply just toss up on the roof pretty easily, I think. And on the ground, I'm gonna prefabricate the A-frame ends so I can secure them. Then I can just lean everything, screw it in. I have some plywood sheets I'll put in here over the studs so I can put a step ladder and work up top since it'll be about 7 feet off the ground. Now this stuff here, I'm gonna pile it up all in the end so I don't have to throw it back up here again when I do the roof. I'm just gonna leave this all up here in a corner. And the ugly side, maybe I should put it inside, or maybe I should leave it out because it'll rust faster. Kind of like the rustic look. It'll take decades to actually rust through. Or should I put it on the inside so you don't see it? Let's see how it looks underneath, honestly. Looks brand new underneath. We'll put that side up just so it matches the new stuff that we will buy. All right, I gotta clean all this up. I put this in the middle because it's dipped, the roof of the truck, and it was acting like a funnel into little holes that are in the roof. That was to get it off, but that applied too much weight to the middle of the beam, and that's why I had those jacks inside. All right, let's clean up all this. All right, I'm gonna wait to sweep this off until afterwards because the 8-foot 2x4s will slightly overhang, giving me enough room to sweep it out of the studs afterwards because we're gonna be making more of a mess. So I expect it to maybe come out to here, still giving the chimney enough clearance from the roof, the wooden part of it. So I'm gonna start throwing a little bit of lumber up on the roof to see where we're at. Gotta go open that trailer now. All right, loaded it in the trailer. Trailer's having no issue handling it. This trailer's aluminum. It's only 600 pounds empty. This probably weighs more than the trailer. Got the spare tire in there. This is a trailer I got off Craigslist last year. One thing I am noticing is the bottom here is strong, but this is just thin. See, people have made repairs, the old owner, and there's dents on the outside. Don't care about the dents, but I gotta be careful when I'm braking. Accelerating's okay because it's got that heavy back door, but I gotta make sure I don't slam the brake on because it could break the trailer. Back here has some hooks. Maybe I'll try putting a ratchet strap on the top of it, but I gotta go get a couple of sheets of plywood that'll help my job out a whole ton. All right, instead of plywood, this is what I got. This was a bit cheaper, and this stuff holds up incredibly well. This is basically for me to work on. I think I have all the studs, most of it I have, so I'll be able to make a structure, and once I'm done with this in a day or two, I'll know what I need to buy. I'll buy all the roofing products a different day, and maybe a few cheap storm windows to put up top. Wow, all that bumpy road, and the pile only fell over a little bit. Good, because this is thin-walled, or else I would have brought even more wood. So this right here is going to be the outwards, the drip edge, this pressure-treated part. The beams right here that aren't pressure-treated are the main beam in the middle of the building, and this is everything else, lots of 2x4s. I was thinking that maybe I'm sure there's going to be a piece of scrap left of the pressure-treated. I'll have maybe a piece of that sticking out the end, because I kind of want to put that birdhouse back up even though no one's using it. This will be part of the attic floor eventually, but for now, this is just for I can set up a ladder up top, a step ladder, without punching through the thin metal roof of the box. All right, now I'm on the easy part. This is what I did in 20 minutes. So, trying to figure out what exactly I want to do here. I don't know if I want to put another beam out here with a few braces, making that strong. I don't know if I want a little overhang. There definitely will be a roof overhang, so water doesn't get underneath this. I think I will put another stud and have the floor extend about a foot over there. Definitely want the floor going a foot over the front to cover up that windshield area. So see, it'll be going off to each side about 8 inches. But you can basically see what I'm getting at. I'll couple that together with another piece. This will be the floor. Put plywood on the top of this eventually when we're done. I gotta figure out why some of this is bowing so much, but hopefully when we get plywood and stuff all screwed on here, it won't be doing that. See? Flush, not flush. It's basically because the roof isn't flat, so I'll probably have to do some shimming. Do what we can. The A-frame part will be the hardest, I think. All right, everyone. I got to the point where I need the generator, and it's starting to get dark, so we're gonna wait until tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm gonna put a few members going from here to here, just to strengthen that up a little bit, although the A-frame up top will make that stronger too. These here will also become much stronger once there's a little bit of a floor in here. I skipped this one because I'm gonna have to cut it about 3 inches shorter once I add a piece in there joining those. So, also down here I have just enough pressure treated wood. Needs another 4 feet on each end. And tomorrow's gonna go along fast. We'll need the generator first thing in the morning to get this project moving again. But I gotta get some sleep. Today was another busy day. It's not gonna rain all week. I can just leave everything here. Now that we're into the evening, I'm working out everything. I'm looking at what I'm going to be building tomorrow. We're going to be cutting all this at 30-degree angles. This right here is we're building the main beam for the top of it. These will be joined with a 2-foot piece of wood on each side. This one will be cut in half because we only need an extra 4 feet. Both sides of that will also have 2. So we're going to try to get this beam up there in one piece with the end cap, the first truss system attached to it going up, because I'm only one person. Then the other end will have a temporary piece of wood holding it straight while I build more trusses to support it. That's the plan, at least. Thankfully, this wood is very dry, very light. Right here, I'm working out some measurements, getting a lot of cuts ready, so when we start the generator up in the morning, we will have plenty of stuff to get cutting immediately. These are pressure treated. This one's getting cut into 4ths. This one here is getting cut in half. Honestly, I might save that piece of pressure treated wood. That's only to bind together those pieces right there. And I think I could just use a 2x4 on the inside. I don't think it'll honestly make a difference structurally, since it's just holding it together. It's not really that much structural. Got my battery so I can keep switching it back and forth. That one will charge while I'm using the other one. Got the saw all hooked up at a 30-degree angle for the morning. We'll do all those cuts first. Actually, probably not. We'll probably do regular cuts first. But I'm just getting everything ready for morning. I'm gonna go sleep in the truck again because this thing smells like mothballs. That should clear out in the next 24 hours for tomorrow night. I can maybe sleep in there, honestly, while I'm working on this. Sleeping in my truck is gonna be probably the better option. Then when we get this thing completed, we'll probably work in there. So when I make a hatch, because I haven't figured out where it is yet, I'll probably cut one of those studs out of the way, make a nice square hole. So we're not going to secure any flooring until I figure all that kind of stuff out. It'll really come together by tomorrow night. I think by tomorrow night we'll probably have all of the framing done. Then it'll be roofing the next day. Then we'll have to build walls on the ends the next day. I think we'll have it done by the end of the week. Good morning, everyone. The trees are starting to turn red for fall, but it is still a very hot, humid day today. Gotta stay hydrated. I brought a bunch of water. I got my energy drink. This hasn't been refrigerated in about a day, but I had it in a cooler, so it defrosted, but it'll probably just cook faster. Since we got the generator, brought a microwave out here. I'm just gonna live out of my truck for a couple of days, but I think that's gonna come together really good and fast today. All right, so we're gonna get this thing started right now. Just make sure the oil level's okay. All right, everyone, I'm gonna time lapse most of today's events. This will go up fast. All right, everyone, let's start this thing up. Use the glow plugs for a few seconds. Prime it for a few seconds. Let it go maybe 5 seconds. Might have to give it a little bit of throttle. Let's go. Let's go turn the microwave on and see where that goes. That microwave field doesn't have instructions. It's not, it's for an oven only, but remember, this generator can power a whole house, and a microwave is nothing compared to an electric stove or water heater, but it did go up a little bit. We'll see if we can get some cutting done now. Alright, that generator works good. And we're just using a tiny fraction of what this thing can actually produce. So microwave worked, cooked my food, my drill just died up there. So this is break time for me now. It's very hot out. I can feel the heat. I gotta drink more. It's so hot that up there you might notice that camera just cut out. It said it was overheating. Black camera in the sun overheats. So I'm just gonna sit here in the shade and have some lunch. I'll get back on it in like 10 minutes. Just want a little bit of quiet while I eat, so I shut this off for the time being. All right, I took a 10-minute break. I'm gonna go back up with the new battery. I have like 5-10 minutes left of work up there. Then I can start designing the trusses. All right, now it's time to go start. I gotta build a couple triangles that are gonna sit right on this with that little lip, just like that. I reinforced the ends because they overhang slightly. All right, everyone, it's really hot out. I've been drinking, but I'm still getting a bit of a headache from the heat. I don't do well in the heat. I don't know why, but we got the beam up there. The ends are going to be replaced. So this saw right here is only capable of doing a 50-degree cut, but I'm supposed to be making 60-degree angles up there. And that's obviously not enough, having two 50s. It needs to be two 60s, so I'm having to use the square and use this circular saw, because here's the big difference, all right? The circular saw made this 60-degree cut, while this 50-degree cut, the maximum the other one can make. This is what we need. This is what's up there. I have to make a whole bunch of these, replace what's up there, just keep making a whole ton of those. I need 34 of them. All the mess ups, all those pieces of wood are going to be used for blocking between the trusses to make it stronger. Instead of us putting strips of wood to put the metal roof on like you usually do, it's going to be attached to blocking every 2.5 feet. All right. Why it does that exactly. It's not putting out power. I notice if I start a few times, it usually works. Don't know why. There we go. I don't know why. It doesn't always produce power on the first start. I need a break from all that noise and I want to sit in the shade for a little bit too. All right. Just made 12 of these. As I put them up, I want to do it even, not just one side at a time. Although one side's gonna have to have a little bit more because I'm short by like a dozen boards. And it's not even because of the mess ups. Like, we need to waste a few boards just to make blocking. And that's what they'll be used for later. So I'm gonna put all that up. A couple of hours, I'll head back to the Home Depot, get the rest of the roofing, buy more plywood for the floor, more boards, and maybe 2 storm windows so we can start framing windowsills. And then I should also buy a few pieces of wood siding. I think I only need 2 boards with the space the window will take up. That'll be nice. And I have an old stain I'm gonna use for any exposed areas. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I'm gonna use pressure treated 1x8 underneath there to close that part up. Probably need a 1x8 and a 1x3 together on each side. Then they got to seal that little end cap up with maybe another 1x4. So it's coming along. All right, everyone, it is 3 in the afternoon now, and I'm sweating my butt off. Been drinking a lot too. So this right here, the blocking I just put in, is what's preventing it from falling over now that the bracing's off. There's one brace on the inside there, that'll be removed later. So I decided I am gonna go buy the pieces of wood to put the roofing on like you're supposed to. I'm not gonna just use blocking, and the reason is we need that extra inch to get it over that piece I put there. So I have a lot of things to get at the store before we put the roofing on. Even though it's not windy today, we're gonna put boards on the ceiling of the truck and we're gonna sandwich it. I'm gonna get at least 8 big carriage bolts and we'll drill through the ceiling. And I'm gonna work into the night when it's cooler. I'm not working in this heat anymore, but actually everything's basically done at this point. Everything difficult, at least. It'll be another learning experience framing the end. I want to see what I can find for storm windows. And once we get the roof on tonight, once I sandwich it and everything, I'm gonna cut one of those pieces out and make a square hatch like an attic. And I'm skipping those couple pieces you see there because the boards going across for the roof will tie that up. And this thing I think is, I'm using a lot of screws. This thing's not going to fall over. I'm trying to overbuild it to a sense. Now we're off to the store. Can't wait to sit in the air-conditioned truck for an hour and a half to the store. Oh, I forgot. I gotta back up and hitch up. All right, everyone, at the Home Depot now. We're getting these windows here, which were the cheapest they have. They're double pane. They don't seem to sell storm windows anymore, if you know what that is. For seasonal camps, you can put it over the other single pane windows. Right here, I'm buying these. This is how I'm gonna sandwich this thing to the roof with 8 bolts. There's the roof bolts, a bunch of great stuff. Roofing, the cap. This is for the under the drip edge. This is just for gap filling, and we're gonna use this actually for the roofing to add more strength to the whole thing. We'll use a piece of this for the siding on the sides and some of it for the attic flooring. Alrighty, we made it back from town. Doesn't look like the windows got broken. Good. Before I do any roofing, anything that could catch the wind, even though it's not windy today, I want to get this done first. I want to sandwich it in here. So basically, here's my small piece of wood. So I'm going to put this right here where the frame is very solid. I'm going to attach that with these roofing screws. They're self-tapping into metal. So it'll go through the 2x4. It's just going to hold it in place so it doesn't move. Then I'm going to drill holes all the way up through the top, then go up top, find those holes, drop bolts down with more reinforcements, come in here and put the nuts back on. It's all going to be on the sides. So, I'll time lapse the rest of this. Oops, I have the wrong drill. I got to go back up on the roof. How are you? All right, sorry for that interruption there. I just had the police come out and take a look at the trailer. They gave me a little sticker with a VIN number I couldn't put on it. The other trailer, not that one. All right, gotta get back to drilling. We need a new screw. This one actually is all stripped. I mean, worn out the end of it. That's supposed to self-tap. Wait a second. Maybe this will work. Nope. Oh, come on. It's aluminum, what the heck? Alright, now I gotta find a drill bit which is slightly bigger than this. It looks like I might be using the biggest one. Yeah, that's the biggest one I got. Looks like it'll just do the job. That would have sucked if I didn't have a drill bit that would work. Alright, so, shoes untied. Alright, so, we're up top. And I forgot the impact driver, because I gotta secure this first now. Damn it. So, where that is in the inside, I gotta secure this now, because this is what's gonna hold down the building in a storm, if it is strong enough to be an issue. All right, I got the generator going again. I need to charge up the batteries. So I got 8 holes drilled. Now we gotta find those downstairs and drill them in the downstairs wood. We'll come back up, drop the bolts through, and secure everything. All right, everyone, I decided the wood wasn't necessary because we are through this really thick part that was hard to drill. Now I just got to go around with my wrench to all of these and tighten them up. And as you tighten them up top, if you saw how that washer looked, it's going to sink into the wood so it can't spin at all. Now that one I used the feet of these jacks just because it was kind of on the edge. And there's no bolts down here because this part isn't as structural. Look at that. There's literally a crack right here. That's why I'm doing this up top. No way this could hold snow. Using the microwave again. All right, it's done. And finally take this off. All done for the night. All right, so we accomplished all the framing. I put on the first 2 panels of roofing, put the ridge cap on the first part of it. I'll go show that to you in a moment. I honestly didn't eat earlier. I didn't want hot food because it was really hot today. The weather's finally getting nice, but it's dark and I'm honestly exhausted, and being exhausted and doing this at night is not a good combination. So I used 2x4s as the metal roof strapping. The top that's actually what you're supposed to use for the metal roof to adhere to what's up on top. I did that. I didn't want a 2x4 at the top because I didn't want there to be an issue with the roof being too far away from the ridge cap for the ridge cap to grab it, if you know what I mean. But I'm sure, what's in the woods? Something's walking around. But I'm glad I used 2x4s because I can stand on that. I can monkey my way up there to work. Otherwise, I don't even know how I would be doing this. I guess the step ladder until I get to the end. Now, it's smooth sailing. It's slow going, but it's going to go smoothly tomorrow until I get to the last one. I'm going to have to use the ladder from the outside to do it. Not a big deal. Then a learning experience for me is building the sidewalls. And I think it'll be pretty easy, honestly. This thing's already very structural. It doesn't need to exactly follow building codes. So I think I'm going to put the plywood up first over the face of this, then add studs as reinforcement on the inside afterwards. We'll see though. We'll see. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. I got to get some sleep. So we got the first piece of roofing on the end. This roof is so steep. I love this. It's so cool. Then tomorrow I'm going to use those 1x8s to cover up this hole, which goes right into the living space. Covering that up, it'll prevent birds from nesting in here. Bees, that's what the spray foam's for. We're gonna make it tight once we're done. We're doing good. This truck's strong. With the extra weight, you can feel the suspension a lot more because it still has wheels. And this whole thing, especially up top, you can rock the whole truck back and forth. It's really cool. Well, everyone, I'm going to say good night now. I'm going to eat all of that, I think. I can finish that. Then we'll be back to work in the morning. Got a couple hours of editing ahead of me, too. Have a good night, everyone. Wow, look at that. Look how bright the moon is tonight. They say this is the harvest moon of the year. Look at that super moon right there. I can walk around outside without a flashlight tonight. It's amazing. It's so bright. It's like having a little solar eclipse. Like the whole area is like twilight all night long. It was like this yesterday. It'll probably be like this the next few days too. Beautiful moon. All right. Good night, everyone. I'm going to try to wake up early and get some stuff started. Or I'll wait for the dew to burn off first. Good morning, everyone. We're about to get started on day 3. Today, I think we will definitely complete the roof. And I think we'll even get the sides of it framed. We got to get the windows up there, unpack them, figure out exactly how big we have to make the window jambs. Then afterwards, we can start putting up the sidewalls. When we do the sidewalls, we got to fill in that crack underneath so birds and stuff can't get up into it. Once that's done, we'll spray foam the inside, fix the flooring up in the attic. Then we got to work on the hatch in there. Still a couple days of work at least. Just had some breakfast. Beanie weenies, peaches, chicken chili, and cranberry sauce I didn't finish. All right, we're gonna start this thing back up to charge up some of our batteries and get back to work. The one thing I hate about early in the morning, look at the amount of grass I'm tracking up there with me. All right, let's get this thing going. When I bought these, I thought they were regular windows like this, but no. They're actually supposed to slide. Don't matter though. That's cool too. They're sliding windows. So I gotta measure this up and frame it. I might even frame it down here because it's so small. Make a box around it. Then the outside of it, when we go back to the store to buy a little bit of trim, I think I'll buy the waterproofing tape. Actually, no, I gotta buy it. I was gonna say I could use something else, but I better do it right. Okay. And these windows were pretty cheap. They were only about 70 bucks a piece. They're not good like the Anderson ones, which are like 300 even for this little one. But this is not going to be a very insulated building at all. I don't know why they got to do it where it leaves a ton of glue there. I guess it's not a spot you'll see, so. Kind of wish I went for bigger windows, but that's all right. I wish the store would sell ones that are like black or green, because this one part of the building's what's going to stand out. But I'll frame around this, and first I think we got to stain the building, so I think 2 more days we'll have this project complete. Then we can do a real camp here. All right, everyone, I'm bringing you guys up here so you can see how it's going. There's a nice breeze, which is nice, so it's not overheating while I'm up here. So I'm gonna build the wall right here facing into the deep part of the woods. Then I'm gonna put the floor in here. Then we have to make a hatch because I'll trap myself with the other door. Then we gotta seal off these soffits. All right, so I was thinking the window should be towards the top, right? Better for ventilation, and you'll have a view. So this is nice. The ceiling in here is about 7 feet. I can comfortably walk up here. I have a few boards up here. I just have to measure from down there to up in here for that window. I don't know what I cut these pieces of wood for, but I never use them. They've just been up here for the past day. So, we're not gonna do studs like you're supposed to by code. We're gonna do it like this. This place has enough structure. Those windows are low profile. Doesn't really need too much. So I gotta get one of the windows back here now. Take measurements. Then we really don't need that much structure in these walls. So the height of the window doesn't really matter for this part. Just gotta make sure it's centered. So I brought my tape measure. Let's see how much space we got here. Come on. 7 and 4 inches, it looks like. So 3 and 8. Basically where that little beam in the middle is, just a tad that way, would be the center of the window. So I gotta go mark what I gotta bring down there and cut. So that goes there. That'll be a cut for the circular saw, not the Miller saw. Good. And technically, if it's centered, wouldn't the other cut be the exact opposite? I think so. I'm gonna take another accurate reading anyways. Let's put these side by side and see if they line up like perfect. How is it that different? Just how? How the heck did I get that cut? That is definitely wrong. They both look very wrong at the moment. to measure stuff like this. Right, this one's looking okay now. This other one, just no way. That one looks all right. This one. Well, hopefully it fits in here when I cut. Little X on that one. I don't know if it was recorded because the camera says recording failed, but if you saw me putting that in, I had it in there so perfect, and I realized the window was upside down. Now I'm trying to make it perfect again. I just had to get a new battery. That's solid, but I don't like that creak. We gotta put another screw up there. Maybe that'll stop. It stopped. All right, that's solid. Now we just gotta cut out pieces to fill in the outside. Then we'll go to the store probably tomorrow, get trim board for the outside of the window and around the perimeter. Then we're going to stain the ends of this thing dark black so it blends in with the woods. This truck came with a whole bunch of stain, if you ever seen that in the camping videos. I just left it down there on a shelf because I knew I would use it someday for preserving something. So, I guess before we do the other wall, we're going to have to start working on the floor. We have to sweep up all this crud, put some flooring in, because once we get that wall up, no plywood's going to ever fit up here again. Probably not. Maybe difficultly, yes, because I plan on making the hatch big, so I could at least bring a mattress up here if I want to sleep or something. No! That's our only broom. Alright everyone, so here's my plan. Not sure what we'll use these for. Probably we'll cut it into triangles for where the windows are. But my plan now is to completely cut this out with the reciprocating saw. Snap, snap. Then we'll put blocking in there so it looks a little better from downstairs. Because someday we might finish this with something. I don't know what I would use. I wouldn't use sheetrock. I don't want to add all that more unnecessary weight. I kind of like it unfinished. But I'm going to have one giant hatch here that heat can come up through in the winter. It'll also, in the summer, create a draft. If you're sleeping up here, it's obviously going to be at night. It'll be nice and cool. In the day, it won't get hot in the truck now. It'll all rise up out of here. So we're going to put another uncut sheet of this, 4x8. It'll go right up to here. We can also use the scrap to get rid of that. There's going to be like a 1 foot area, unfinished floor at the end. We're going to leave this unfinished so there's a way to look underneath here and see if there's mice or something living up here in the future. And so this is going to have floor. So basically you have a hatch and an opportunity for a sleeping space here and there. There's going to be a spot big enough for 2 beds up here. which will be cool. And in a hatch that big, you'll be able to get anything up out of here. So that's going to be 32 by about 6, a little less than 6. Pretty big hatch, so we'll knock this one out and we'll cap it at the ends. Good. That's what we're going to do. We got to get more of those sheets of plywood up here now because we're never going to get them up here once that's done. We'll use the reciprocating saw to cut the ceiling here. And we're going to have to cut through one beam, I think, somewhere. So I'm going to try to make this, cut it here so I can like fold it and tack it. We'll see what happens, how it even cuts. I don't know if it even will cut well. This is so jagged, loose. I don't know if the reciprocating saw is going to catch that, if it's even going to cut nicely or not. I'm not really sure. I could also try to cut it exactly and tack it from the bottom to this. We'll see. And this will add a lot more structure too. I don't know if you can tell. Can you tell by... Look at this. Can you tell? Look at this. Look how much this thing shakes. It's solid, but that's the suspension of the truck because it still has wheels and springs. It still has shocks. Look at that. I don't know. Will that help this thing not blow over in a storm? Like, will it be able to sway a little bit like a skyscraper? I don't know. Alright, generator's going. Brought up another saw. It's nice working up here now. It's cooler than outside. So, I'm gonna just go through this and how about the wood? Yeah, it worked. It went right through the roof. Alright, this wood was really hard to get up here by myself. Seriously, by that much it didn't fit. Come on. It's not going back down. I'm gonna have to cut it up here. What about the piece behind the camera? Same exact issue. Fortunately, I already swept up here. I guess I'll have to sweep again. I'm gonna take a break and go to the store. There's some parts I need to continue this. Well, there's of course things I can work on other than that. I'm trying to get the difficult things done first. So I messed up one cut. Those cuts are good enough. That'll get covered up with trim, any imperfections. But what I need now, I could probably just caulk it, but there really should be between these joints right here, there should be a little lip of flashing getting behind the upper one and coming out over that one so rain can't get in there. That window, after we're done with the wall, needs to be taped with weatherproofing before we put trim around it. And before we put the trim around it, I want to stain this, which won't take long at all. I also have to cut one more piece for up top, which I don't know how I'm going to get it up there because this ladder doesn't get any shorter and there's a lot of junk in the way. Might just have to use a weird angle from out here, which is an OSHA violation, but it's okay. Need to get a little bit more trim board. We need some things. Then we got to do this exact same thing on the back side of it. So I think we have enough of the zip board. I put it backwards because I want to stain it. I can't stain the painted side, and the painted side makes the inside look a bit better too. On the inside, it came out really good. We have this big opening now going upstairs. Whether there'll be a bed here, there'll be a bed over on this side. That is starting to come together real nice. I made a ladder, nice and strong. Might put one more at the bottom. Accidentally broke a mirror when I dropped a piece of wood. I'm just leaving it there for now. I have no way to, I guess I could shove it in I don't have a good trash can here. We caught a mouse last night now that the mothballs weren't in here, so anytime I'm not here, this place needs to have mothballs in it to keep, now mice can get up this ladder. Up here, we got to do some on the back there. That looks a bit crooked, that window. I'm going to have to level that one slightly. But I'm going to work into the night with lights. It's so hot out here now. Up here, you touch that roofing, it burns you like those metal playground slides. I'm impressed by this generator. I was told that this thing will use up 8 gallons or so in a 12-hour shift. Not even close. So this thing here, I ran it about, what time is it? 5 hours today, and it wasn't at the full mark. It only moved like 1/8 of a tank. I think the guy I got it from, when he said it uses 8 every 12 hours, I think he was running this thing full throttle to get the 100 amps out of it. I don't need to be producing that much voltage, so I'm running it considerably slower. So I think that's what's saving me fuel. Like, I don't even need to come back with another one of these today. This will run a few more days. Probably don't even have to fill it again. All right, I had to take the ladder down because the only spot the ladder can really sit is above the window. There's nowhere else it can go. It doesn't get short enough to be below the window. It's as short as it gets, 16 feet. And the top piece, I believe, when I cut it, I can reach out there, and I'll still have a little sliver of room up top to like place it up there. Then I'll put the ladder against it, go up and secure it. Then we can tape out that window. Still need to put one piece of flashing there. You see I already did there. The ends of it will be covered with tape and trim. The bottom has a piece of flashing. Then there's a 1x3 board there and another one underneath it that doesn't need flashing because it's behind it. So now I gotta try to get that piece up. I'm gonna work into the night a bit because it's nice and cool. I definitely don't want to be going up in this thing during the day hours. All right, I was able to leave that piece up there from the inside. Now I'm gonna put the ladder against that piece. It'll push it up there, and now I'll have the ladder. I can screw it in place. And this little guy is for the peak. So I'm gonna have to get a teeny little piece, technically, for all the way up there. Even though way up there, rain probably won't hit it, I'm still gonna put flashing there. Tomorrow's gonna be just as hot as these couple days, but tomorrow the majority of my work will be on the backside, which is good because it's all shade all day. This front part, however, is sun, but there's not much work to do left. Tomorrow it's just gonna be trim work. I'm going back up there right now with the adhesive flashing I bought. I'm gonna rip it down the middle with scissors because this is too wide. We don't need that. I'm just gonna use half of it because I also am not gonna put trim up that thick because this is supposed to be covered with some sort of siding. We're not doing that today. That's going to be what you see. That's gonna get stained and it'll look pretty well. That's already a board that can put up with weathering. It's waterproof. So I hope the stain will actually go on it because it's water. Well, if that is the case, I'm gonna have to paint it. Don't know what color I will use, but I think I still have some basement paint that's Battleship Gray. Maybe I can use that. So that means I'll probably leave it for next time. That is waterproof. That can stand up with weather outside. So, all right. This is the time of day that it's actually nice, so I'm gonna try to get a little bit of work done before I eat. I have McDonald's, but I'll let it get cold. I got a microwave here. So the flashing on the window's done. Now up top, you see those two cracks above the window for that piece? What I'm gonna do there is I bought flashing adhesive or flashing caulking, whatever you call it. I'm gonna put 2 beads of it there and put trim over it, stick it to it with a few screws. Then that'll dry. I don't know if we'll get around to staining tomorrow. Maybe. Probably not. That will probably definitely wrap this up in 2 days. That's what I think I need. But I'm gonna do the trim work. It's gonna get too dark. I'll show it to you in the morning, and good night, everyone. Hey everyone. The next morning, I'm more tired than any other day this week now. I didn't sleep last night. Just couldn't. Just laid there all night. So, watch some videos on this. I'm gonna rip out all this wood. I'm gonna put pressure treated wood in there because I don't want to deal with a possible headache a few years down the road. So that's what we're gonna do now, rip all this out. Take all the screws out from the window again. It looks like that tape, now that the sun's hitting it, isn't even adhering properly. Yeah, we gotta redo that. All right, we're back to the start, but at least it'll be easier this time because I don't have to remeasure. I just traced all those pieces back onto the pressure treated board right here. Now I just gotta cut these out again. It's better to do things right the first time and not have a headache a year down the road if this stuff does start swelling up. I didn't even intend to do that. I just started using that stuff because it was around. I only bought it for the flooring. I don't even know myself why I started using that the way I was using it. All right, let's start this thing again. Let's see if I do a good job today. Let's see if I can start it easily. I'm giving it the glow plugs for a good 30 seconds because it needed them yesterday even though it was hot. I'm still holding on them. Where's my ear protection? Over there. I'll grab it in a moment. All right, now I'm gonna let it prime for a good... Just letting it prime. All right, let's hit it. All right, we got everything cut out. This should go back up there pretty easily. I'll put all the flashing back around it, re-tape it, re-trim it. This whole thing probably only set me back 2 hours at the most. Now the generator, when I was working the other day, I just let it keep running to charge up batteries and stuff. Can't believe how efficient it is at idle speed, because that's all we need to run this type of machines, idle speed. We're not revving it heavy to run a whole house, so it just idling all day is pretty efficient. It uses about 4 gallons of fuel every 18 hours. At least it seems to be using that. I've been here days. If you notice, I haven't even changed my clothes. I stink. And I've only had to fill the thing with 5 gallons of fuel. Yeah, when I was working up there, it was fine because it was wide open. But if you notice, the exhaust pipe on this thing is puffing this way against it and up there to where I'm working. So until I start working on that side, I'm not going to idle it to charge my batteries. I got a couple charged batteries, so I'm good for a while. And this doesn't involve a lot of screwing either. It's just tedious fitting, especially how there's no space for the ladder. Yeah, I'm too lazy to move the wood pile. I'm just going to get this done. I can't cut wood now because I don't know. I looked all over this generator and look. Nothing. I don't know. The priming system sounds a little weak. I looked all over this thing. I don't think it has an alternator. I don't think it can charge its own batteries. I'm hoping that's it. I'm hoping the flywheel or starter doesn't have a flat spot, because I got in there with a screwdriver on the flywheel, banging on it, and I can't even get it to budge if it is on a flat spot. So the only thing I can think to do is I'm gonna pull my truck up here, which has a plug in the back of it. I'm gonna trickle charge this thing for a few hours and hope it starts. I don't know what I'm gonna do in the meantime, because I need power tools. I hope this is it. I really don't know though, because this thing started without any hesitation. You saw it was strong when I started it this morning. I don't think this is it, but I'm gonna leave it hooked up for a bit. I disconnected the jumper because these are only rated for 12 volts, and with it disconnected, it's not 24 anymore. I don't think my truck can handle the saws, so I don't think I should plug any of that in. Yes! The batteries were dead. This thing does not have an alternator for the batteries. It started right up after an hour of charging off the truck. Yeah. All right, everyone. It's starting to get dark. I'm gonna take another ride into town, get some more parts that I know I need now, return the lumber that wasn't used. So, this side of the building, I'm proud of. We did the flashing underneath the window. We used the flashing tape. We used the flashing at the bottoms of the boards up top. These two crevices here, after I stain the building, I'm gonna wait 24 hours, for it to cure. Then we're gonna just caulk those really tiny seams. That should be good enough. And we gotta wait 24 hours because if I caulk it first, the stain isn't gonna get underneath the caulking and it'll look like garbage, in my opinion. We just did the spray foam, and to my surprise, it barely even came out the cracks. I thought it was gonna be bad, but I can just get that off with a putty knife in the morning once it cures. So it took 6 or 8 cans. I still have to do the ridge. I have to get a little hose to get it up in there because you can't hold the can upside down. It doesn't work that way. I sealed all these cracks on the inside, but it came out in very minimal places, which I'm happy about. I thought it was gonna make an absolute mess. This birdhouse here, I wanna find a place to put that. I made that when I was a really little kid. It's still around, it's pressure treated. Spray foam turns this nasty color if you do it when it's too cold to cure properly. That'll stay white. This we did in the middle of winter, if I remember correctly. Now the back side, I'm leaving the ladder set up because I'm just gonna stain this part first. The back side I'm not as proud of because, see, we did the flashing, but there's some errors. Like, see, the trim doesn't line up perfectly there. It'll last a bit. It might start rotting because of a few mistakes, like right here. There's a few issues with it that water could get in through. I'm gonna try to caulk it up once I stain it, but I think water can potentially get in this side, but we'll just monitor it from the inside. Spray foam there barely came out, and maybe sometime for a future project, we'll replace the windshield with a piece of clear plastic roofing. That would make it a lot more lit in there, look nicer. Because the upstairs is beautiful because it has lighting from the windows. And this twilight part of the day is perfect because there's no sun shining in the window. It's dark in there, but light enough out here you can see any little crack that needed foaming. On the inside, I spray foamed all these little crevices. And to my surprise, it barely came out. It only came out in one spot. That's awesome. That is actually awesome. And these trees are gonna scare me when I'm sleeping if the wind is blowing. That's okay, scary noises. And I just hope wind-driven rain doesn't get up anywhere. This is a very steep roof. So hopefully not. Hopefully rain doesn't get driven in these cracks. They're all overlaid by one. So hopefully that's enough. Well, I'm definitely not a builder or a carpenter. I've not been good at this stuff when it involves angles. I'm horrible at it. But on the bright side, I will be doing something that I actually went to school for and did for quite a few years. We're gonna do a little bit of electrical work on the inside tomorrow. I absolutely love the lines that the corrugation on the sheet metal did to those bricks. I think it's very pretty. Now, I was thinking that we could have solar panels out here, and I have a really large solar power bank. I usually just charge it in the house and use it when I'm out in the middle of nowhere. Never use the solar panels, but I was thinking I could wire this thing like a camper, where it has just a wire somewhere that you could tap onto. With the solar power bank I have, it produces 400 watts of power. Even if I brought it here without the solar panels, it would run stuff in here for a few days. So 400 watts means it can't run something like a microwave. You can't run anything powerful like that. Although you can run maybe a coffee maker. You can run some lights. So here's what I was thinking about doing. I was thinking about having a box right here on the wall. A junction box with a plug with just a wire sticking out, dangling, 3-prong wire. Then having a piece of EMT go out. And I'm not gonna bother with all the offsets because I'd have to go around all this junk, but I'm just gonna make it simple. We're gonna go over here, gonna have a light switch, a 2 gang box, 2 light switches, one that'll control a light or 2 down here. And remember, 100 watt, but these days LED lights are usually like 20 something watts, but they're a equivalent of an incandescent 100. So you could run quite a few lights off a power bank like that. So I'll probably have two switches there, one for downstairs lights. The other one will be a 4-way switch, which means you can turn it on here, walk up the stairs, go to sleep over there, go to sleep over here, and have a switch to shut it back off. 4-way switch means you can shut it on and off in 3 different locations or more. A 3-way switch is 2 locations, like the end of a hallway has a switch. You can shut it off, turn it on from either end. You'll notice that those switches don't say on or off because there is no on or off position. It depends what you did. But with a 4-way switch, there'd be 3 or more. So we'd have a 4-way down here, 2 4-ways by both of the sleeping areas. So I was thinking about doing something like that. It's an idea. I'm going to think about it when I go to return this stuff at the Home Depot tonight. Maybe I'll do some electric work. So here's the spray foaming I did. Not too bad. I didn't drip much of it at all. Spray foam cans everywhere. Did the edges. I still have to do the ceiling right there by the crown because all my heat will escape if I leave it open. It's good for ventilation, but that's why I put windows. The majority of the year, I'm just going to leave those open unless I'm actually trying to heat the place. And now we got the other side here looking good. I'm proud of how it looks from the inside. You see new sheet metal. Here's the old stuff. You can even see the marks from the old cinder blocks. I cleaned up the bulk of the glass. I left some of it because I figure we're going to wait until construction's completely done. Probably tomorrow, on the interior at least. But tomorrow's a slow day. All I got to do is stain and do a little bit of electrical work. That don't take long, and I know electric well. So up here, I got to sweep everything. I'll probably just sweep it down this hole since I got to sweep everything. Every surface down here has to be swept off. Up front, the counter has to be swept off, the dashboard. Yeah, we swept this before, but we made another mess. And these big clumps here, when they cure, we'll scrape it off. Going good. Good morning, everyone. I think today might be the day we're able to wrap up this project. Not quite exactly. There's a few things I'll have to wait until tomorrow. I'm gonna stain that, then once it cures after 24 hours, I can caulk around it. Can't do it first because the stain won't get behind the caulking. Okay, and just had some breakfast, made some French toast sticks that were defrosting all night. I got my crappiest clothes from when I was doing some reddish stain. But we're going to be using black stain so I can reuse all this stuff. And the staining's all going to happen outside. Leave in the comments if you think sometime I should maybe stain the inside. That'd probably look nice. Stain the ladder, maybe the opening. I'm not going to stain all this stuff up here. I like how it's white. It makes it look more open. Now I still have to spray foam the very top so heat can't escape. They'll make it encapsulated upstairs. So over here, good. Over this side, good. So when I'm up here, now that it's daylight, I gotta look for any little crack of light that I may have missed. But I think I did a pretty good job, except a few areas have to go over twice because the gaps are pretty big. Now I gotta use a little piece of hose. I have like a little hose I was using to siphon fuel. Really thin hose. I think I can use it on the can and put it up because you can't put the can upside down. But we finally have a nice cool day. I'm gonna do some more spray foaming in here. By the time I'm done staining outside, that'll have cured because you don't want to be sitting around the stuff as it cures. It puts off formaldehyde vapors. And next week's supposed to be all rain. We'll probably come back here and do a camping video just as is. So by the time all that stuff cures, we'll be able to do a little bit of electrical work in here. Just a little bit of it. Just to make it functional off a little solar system I'm gonna bring. So basically I'm gonna have a box right here with a plug It's gonna have a wire sticking out of it with a male end that I can put into a power bank. It's gonna have a line of EMT pipe. It's gonna come over here to 2 light switches. One light switch is gonna control a single light down here somewhere. It probably is gonna be just above it on the wall, a single light bulb. Then the EMT pipe will continue upstairs. I'm gonna drill a hole somewhere, I plan. Then when it comes up here, it's gonna have Romex coming out of it. Up here we're gonna do Romex. I think I'm gonna run it underneath the floor, just fish it through there. And at the top of the ladder is gonna be a 3-way light switch. We're not gonna do the 4-way like I thought. We'll just have a 3-way switch there, which will have 2 lights upstairs. And with the 3-way, there's gonna be a plug upstairs. So there's just gonna be 2 plugs in here, which basically are just gonna be used for charging phones and cameras. But with the little bit of electrical work, you could always tap onto it, add a mini fridge under there, microwave up top, something like that. But at the time, I don't plan on doing that. My solar power banks would not be able to run something like a microwave. It's too powerful. But you could get a 700 watt microwave and get a much bigger solar power bank. They have them, but they cost many thousands. I'm not gonna do that. If I wanted things like that, I would just bring a small generator out here and run it a couple hours a day just to keep refrigeration good. But it's okay. This is more of a cabin I'm building for winter use only with this little stove. It's not really for summer use. It gets really hot. We don't need insulation. This will actually be cool. It's steep. I don't think any snow's really going to be able to stay on that, but it'll be cool if we come out with some heavy wet snow that actually did stick to it. Fire up the stove, suddenly crash, all the snow falls off. That'll be kind of cool. All right, everyone, I thought spray foaming down below was easy. I wonder about this. I was hoping the straw would have been able to go at the end. It fits in here perfectly snug, but the hose could not go onto this. This is too small, the nozzle. Let's see if it works. You gotta hold it down right, but with this hose, I'm hoping I can easily spray foam the whole top. Hopefully I don't get it all over myself. It's going through the straw, look at it. Going slower than I thought. But finally up. It might make a mess because it's going through this straw. You might not be able to shut it off easily. It's gonna fall and make a mess. At least it comes off the floor really easy, I realized. Yet, you can't stop it, look. It's expanding in the hose. Oh, the mixture's not going right, look at that. I'm making a mess all over the floor. I gotta shut the camera off. I gotta do this fast. I'm not happy about it, but it had to be done. Spray foam is very hard to get off your skin if you've ever got it on you. Oftentimes, I can take showers and it's there for a week. You gotta kind of wait for your skin to shed. Although, WD-40 will take the majority of it off, so I gotta go wash my hands off with some WD-40 and maybe grab some water from the stream. The reason I haven't taken a bath this week is because the stream is not even flowing. But I got everything done as I think. I can see glowing a little bit in certain areas, but everything's blocked. Everything's sealed. Now, why is it all over my clothes? Why is it all over my hands? Well, I'm going to show you. The first thing I used, the hose was too long. That was the issue. Then I tried just trying to do it. It's still 3/4 full, but I ran out of pressure. Can't do it. Then I put a smaller hose on, which worked pretty well. It got the job done, but here's the issue. There's a straw with a joint, curve with another straw. It just dripped in my hair. Oh, come on. And it opened up a daylight area. Damn it. But it's okay. It's all right. The job has to be done. And I got to seal that little hole right there before this hardens. The end was hardening, right? As I was pumping, it built pressure. It kept blowing these joints just all over me. Because that's a lot of pressure. Now I got to get that little hole where it just globbed. And I better look for other holes while I'm at it. Because this was a 2-can job. But I used all these 5 cans because this isn't very efficient. Now you see it all over the floor. The stuff I got on the floor yesterday, when it cures in a couple hours, it'll crack right off. Won't even leave a mark. Except where I stepped in it. Won't come off. Also, I'm going to go downstairs barefoot and put my work boots back on, because I'm hoping that cracks off my Crocs without wrecking them. Oh, it's still dripping from the ceiling in some spots. Leave in the comments, how would you guys have done this? I've never had to spray foam a ceiling before like that. Yes, the Home Depot does sell professional spray foaming kits with a foam gun, but that's hundreds of dollars, and that's not for crack sealing, that's for insulating, which I didn't want to insulate this. I just wanted it to be airtight enough when the wood stove's running. That wood stove will bake this place, I guarantee it, in the winter. That'll all come off the floor in a couple of hours when it cures. Not an issue. My hands, on the other hand, that's not going to come off for like a week. It's okay though. It's already hardened. It just feels like I got really, really bad calluses. So that'll be cured in a couple of hours. To go up there, remove all that junk, start electrical work. But in the meantime, I gotta use the stain. A lot of times, these really old cans like this, look how rusted that is. It's full of stain. I want to use it up. I think it's black stain. And a can, when it's this old, a lot of times you can't get it open. It's rusted too badly. So chances are I'm gonna have to puncture it and use it up. But stain, that could sit there for months open. It's not gonna just dry up. It's kind of like oil, but I might have to just poke a hole in it. I have a can opener for that, but I'm not confident it'll open. That's the one benefit to today's plastic buckets over that. They don't have that issue. So, the other day, the Home Depot did not have 14.3. So, what that means is you can still do a 3-way switch, but I'm going to have to run 2 lines without a conductor upstairs. I mean, I'm going to have to run 2 lines, and there's going to be a bunch of dead conductors, basically. But that's okay. Future opportunities. I bet this won't open. Oh, I might be wrong. They usually don't open when they're this old. You know what I think it is? It's oil-based. Oil-based stain and paint works the best for preserving stuff. Even the stuff that says indoors only. Here's the thing about that these days. That they don't really, I don't think they don't want you to know. Yes, it's black stain. Perfect. Yeah, the oil actually stopped it from rusting in the inside, so that's a good thing about this. Here's the thing that I believe they don't want you to know. So, most of the United States, oil-based stain for outdoor use is banned for the environmental reasons. You can still buy it you can buy oil-based paint for inside, especially for woodwork. It works the best. It's easy to clean, durable, lasts forever. So it says right on the can of these interior stains, not for outside use. Well, I've used this stuff outside. It preserves. It doesn't even fade in the sun. I think it's the same thing that they used to sell for outdoors. I don't see a difference in it. So this is for indoor use. I'm going to use it outside. It's not going to fade. And even if it did, I would think that would look cool if it faded. It would stay dark in the ridge, and anywhere that it actually gets weathering, it'll make the building look old pretty fast. But it's not going to do that. I've painted a lot of things with this outside and never had an issue with it. The reason they don't want you using outdoor oil-based products these days is because the idiots that accidentally spill it all over the ground. But it's no match for the amount of leaking vehicles and fuel spills that I see at gas stations on a daily. Alright, I'm going to pour this, but I want to do it outside because I don't want to wreck this table if I get a little bit of drippage. Oh my gosh, there's an onion ring down there. Look at that. All right, everyone. We got some weird creaking here, but if we push on the walls of the truck with all that weight up there, it's not bowing. None of the walls are swaying. This is super thick aluminum going around it. It's a very strong truck. We're sweeping up everything here. We're about to start the electric work. I already told you what I plan on doing with that. So upstairs is all swept. Most of the spray foam came off the floor. And to give you a picture of how much space is up here, look at this. You could fit 4 cots up here. See, most of the spray foam came off the floor. Those cans are still full, but not really functional. There's no pressure in them. It is real hot up here. This thing bakes even when it's a cool day. It's not even sunny, but this stuff feels like a playground slide when it really gets going. But take a look at this. We're gonna focus you outside on these trees. Watch how much this thing can sway when I swing around. Watch. Look at that. Look at that. I gotta get footage of outside of this thing when we're shaking it like that. But that's the suspension of the truck, which is really cool. The whole thing shakes, and you see it's when we're shaking it, you're not seeing a thing moving except a couple objects. And that's good because that shows the truck is strong. If there was swaying of the walls at all, that would be kind of dangerous. We'd have to reinforce something, put studs downstairs, but it's an old truck, strong. I'm liking it. With a steep roof, I don't think snow, anything's gonna be an issue. I'll show you guys all the electric components once we're done. All right, everyone, here's what I came up with. This is a plug that can be plugged into a generator or my big power bank. The power bank has a safety on it, so if you overload it, it'll shut off like a breaker. It has a limit of 400 watts, which is quite a few LED light bulbs that are 100 equivalent. So that can be plugged into a big power bank that I have that has solar panels. You let it run all day, it'll fill up all the way in the summertime. Then that comes up here into the conduit. I did conduit downstairs because everything's metal. It just made sense. I didn't have an offset thing. I was actually bent by hand. Not too bad. Over here, it comes into a plug. The entire system in here is GFCI protected, just in case something does get wet. Then it comes on over here to 2 switches. This switch right here, when that gets turned on, is going to turn on the light right above it, right above our table space, right here where we typically cook when we're here with the stove eating. And there's also going to be a light above the door that I didn't put in yet, but I'm going to run the wire through the ceiling, not more conduit. Then it's just going to be a metal box in the ceiling with another keyless light. Keyless light just means it doesn't have a pull cord. It's controlled by a switch. Right here's a 3-way. Can turn it on down here, walk upstairs, shut it off, come back down, turn it on, either way. So it goes up here through the ceiling. Once it gets up through the ceiling, everything's done more residentially, not commercially. It comes up here to this box where there is a electrical plug that'll be on all the time despite the position of the downstairs switch. There's the other 3-way. The wires go upstairs and it goes through nice and neatly. I'll go up there in a moment. So in order to do that, we needed 3 hot wires, one that's always hot and the 2 that are switched, the traveler wires. And because we needed another one, you see, I colored in one of them black. For anyone that could be working on this in the future knows that that white wire was repurposed as a hot. And every portion of it, when we get in here, you'll see is marked to clarify that that is no longer a neutral wire. So we got it crimped, got the boxes grounded, everything there checks out. Go up the ladder. And this will be bright, very bright up here at night. I'm gonna put 100 watt equivalents in. I like a lot of light when we have a system like this. And the cool thing is we're gonna run the whole thing on solar, but we don't have that thing with us today, so we're gonna test it with the generator, obviously. So up here we have this light. This box, we have the ground wire in there, but this fixture doesn't require a ground. Have it up here going through. You can stack a couple wires behind those tacks. goes through the board into there. Then there's the other one, comes all the way down here. These both turn on with one switch. At first I thought about wiring it with a 4-way switch, which means there would have been a switch at each end in case there was 2 beds up here. I didn't do that because if you're already up here, you're probably not gonna trip. So, but then again, it does get pretty dark out here. Could fall down there, but it's okay. Sometime I might end up putting railings going halfway over this thing on each side. But originally I was gonna put the switch on the top of the stairs. Makes sense, right? But every time I come up here, I grab onto this. I use these as handles to get up here, so I didn't want a switch in my way. It would have been awkward having it off to the side that much. So I put it here. Made the most sense to me. All right, we're gonna get all this capped up, and in an hour or two, we'll start up the generator and give the system a test. I'll show you guys it at night. And we're just about done here. I'm gonna stay here one more night, and then we gotta caulk outside once that stuff has 24 hours to cure. And then the place should be okay. Like I showed outside, I messed up a little bit with the flashing in the back here. So it's easy to replace all the panels. I built it so it can easily be replaced. But that being said, even with bad flashing, that's pressure treated everything. This will take a long, long time to actually rot out. Nice and sealed. It is actually pretty hot up here despite it being a cool day. Glad we got the windows up here. We could even put a tiny miniature fan in them. I have, when I'm traveling in my car, I have a box fan that would literally fit in there. It's a teeny little USB one. Works pretty good. All right, everyone, all this stuff is installed. If anyone's ever installing these type of keyless light fixtures that are plastic, or the ceramic ones too, be very careful. You can only snug that up slightly. There's no rubber washer or anything. It's very easy to crack. I've cracked many of them in the past. Now, a lot of these parts are reused. Just things I had laying around to save money. I do not have a cover for this, but it's okay. I'm not gonna stick my finger in there, but we are gonna test the system. First, I wanna clean this place up. I swept earlier, but I made a huge mess again. I had to drill dozens of holes because I wanted to do it to code. I wanted it to actually look good, look presentable. You know what I mean? I wanted everything to go together and look nice. I'm trying to show everything coming out of there. Tried to make everything tidy, and it's in here as if there was gonna be walls and floors. Just wanted to do it nicely. This goes over here. That's the last moment addition. I'll show that downstairs. And look how, I don't know what this was for. It must have been so close to a corner or a door jamb or trim work. I cut it for some reason. I don't know why. Let's go downstairs. See, when I go down, I hold on to this. Then if I had both hands. So everything's nice. I love the gray. It blends right in with the wall. I wish I had all gray. I like the white on the gray. I also like white switches with a black frame. Both black, that is a nightmare when you're in a dark room. Because even with the slightest little bit of light, you can see a white switch, especially if the background is black. But black and black, I did that in my bedroom at home and I regret that. See, this is clearly really old. I'm just trying to reuse parts. And over here, I added this light. Thought we needed one over here by the door. It's convenient. This comes on with the same switch as the table light. All right, I gotta clean up, then we'll start up the generator. All right, we got it all tidied up. Now we just got the pile. Don't have a dustpan, but I'm gonna just use my hands, throw it in a bag. Look at this guy. Every time I see something like this, because I always forget, I gotta look up on the internet. Do you crush it or do you let it live? Because it looks like something that's not supposed to be here. But this guy's okay, this one's native. This is what you call the Sawyer beetle. It creates this large worm-like larvae. Sometimes when you split logs, you find its larvae, these huge worms inside it. They only go after dying and already dead trees. It's not destructive to anything, the Sawyer beetle, but it looks almost the same as the Asian longhorn beetle, which destroys forest. It eats living trees. The difference is this guy has a big white spot on its back, while the Asian longhorn would have a small white spot and also a whole bunch of other white spots on its back. This guy doesn't have anything else. What you're seeing is dust, because he was literally in here and I just tossed him outside after a quick Google search. What is it? All right, everyone, the extension cord reached in here nicely and got it plugged in. We're gonna fire up the generator for the first time with this thing attached. This morning I just used the generator to cook breakfast. Now we're gonna see if we can actually get lighting in here. I gotta screw in all the light bulbs too, real quickly. They're all mismatched, it's all I had. But obviously we'll put these ones upstairs, the ones that are like spotlights on the higher ceiling. And you don't want something protruding that far where you could potentially smash your head on it. All right, everyone. Let's fire up the generator. I was trickle charging this thing again earlier off the truck. So I have to reattach the battery, take the covers off the muffler, start it up. Preheating it for about 20 seconds or so. I'm holding on the glow plug switch. All right. Gonna prime it. Give it a few seconds of that. All right, let's try to turn it over. Everyone, turn it on. First time power going into the truck. Lights on yet? We got power in here. All right, let me take this off so I can talk at a normal level in here. It's not as loud in here. Let's see. I hope this GFCI is not broken, because sometimes we replace them because they're broken, but I'm hoping it works. Let's go. Oh, the light turned on upstairs. Look at that. We got lights. Nice. What about downstairs? Whoa. Nice. Look at that. Got another light over here. Awesome. Generator power. But during our next camping video, we'll have this place running on solar. All right, see this? On, off. Turn it on downstairs. Whoop. Walk upstairs. Should go to sleep. And from upstairs, we can shut the upstairs back off. Nice. Awesome. I'll show it to you guys again at night. You know, one thing I love about generator power, when the machine shuts off, the lights slowly brown out. Watch this. I'm gonna go shut it off. Well, that was a little quicker than I thought, but maybe if it was running full throttle, it would have browned out a little slower. I just remember as a kid going to a campground that has a diesel generator. Ran a couple hours in the morning, couple hours at night, just to run refrigerators and stuff, charge things up. Yep, it was a temporary power campground. That was kind of cool. This kind of reminds me of that. I like it. I got a couple more hours of daylight and I'm bored, so I'm gonna take the microwave off, take everything off of this thing, sweep it, and I'm gonna stain as much of the surface as I can. Soak around all the joints, soak around here to make sure it penetrates underneath. Look how nice the wood looks underneath compared to outside. It's all weathered. It's got to be pressure treated, but this is going to be hard to replace, and I have no way of picking this thing up. So I want to preserve it. I'm going to use the rest of that stain up on here because we got another can in the truck if we ever want to do another coat and make it darker next year. It didn't get super dark because the wood's wet. It's not accepting a lot of stain. It has to dry up. It's pressure treated lumber. So, yeah, and the guy I bought this from warned me about this. When I started up, it's stinking. It smells like poop. Literally. Yeah. It didn't do that day one. The guy told me that this thing, it's a big engine, and when you shut it off at night, it's warm for hours. Mice go in it to stay warm, and I can smell mouse piss burning in there. How do I get that open? He said mice especially like to live in this compartment, and when it's not in use, he'll throw mothballs in here. I smell it. The only mouse poops I'm seeing are from right there. There's a bunch of mouse crap in there. All right, everyone, I used up the stain. You see, it doesn't look that great, but look how nice it looks over here. Turns out this was really dark stain. I just forgot to stir it. That does look beautiful, it being lighter like that. Maybe next year we'll paint it darker. We have another can, but look what's in the bottom of this. Look at that, it's like fifth wheel grease. Well, I'm painting this all over it now. That's ought to preserve it, and that'll dry like the stain. Probably take a week, but that's a good preservative in itself. Look at that. We're gonna use all that up. Make this look really beautiful. And that's like ultra concentrated stain. So at first it was absorbing it like a sponge. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to like mix up some diesel and motor oil. Like a lot of farmers do that on their equipment. Maybe do that in the future. I'll definitely think of that. But this is like tractor grease. That's awesome. That'll preserve it for a long time. That came out beautifully. The whole deck looks nice. I didn't bother reaching under and painting under here because under the generator actually looks like pretty new wood. Never got weathered, probably never got really wet under there too much. But this is gonna be nice. That'll probably take at least a few days to cure. That's nice. That real thick stuff didn't just soak in like that. Maybe in the spring we'll repaint the frame, but to be honest, the paint job, it's not really rusting that much. I like the gray. Maybe we'll buy Rust-Oleum and work on that. You could also really carefully paint the rims. These tires are about to be replaced. Underneath, wow, it's actually all nice and painted except for the axle and springs. Wow, it feels so weird having power in here. I'm just shutting the door a bit so it's not as loud in here. I just went off to the store, got that one outlet cover. And I brought the microwave in because while we got the generator, we don't have that 400 watt limit. Might as well make use of it. Alright, let's cook some lasagna. I bought this about an hour ago at the store, so it's not the frosted like the food we made the other day. How long do I gotta cook that for? Microwave, whoa! 25 minutes! Cook on high, 9 minutes, continue cooking, 50% power for 16. Alright, I'm just going to put it in for 25, and if I forget about it, oh well, I kind of like the crispy edges. Wait, I don't know how to use this microwave. I don't use it often. I didn't know it had, we have to hit time cook. 25. Start. And we're gonna have a tasty meal in about a half an hour. Cool. All right, everyone, I'm gonna end the video now. We'll probably be back here camping sometime soon. Thanks for watching, everybody, and have an awesome night.